Let us start by redefining how we build websites. Let us think outside the box. Let us be creative. Let's imagine something different. This is what Tesla.com did with their current website. And this is what we're gonna build today from scratch. Although we won't build everything, but we're gonna just cover the most important aspects about this website. So if you're a beginner in Framer, or if you're an intermediate learner in Framer, or just someone who wants to learn, upskill, or anything, this is a video for you. So what am I gonna show you today? I'm gonna show you how to build this website. I'm gonna show you how to build the Tesla.com website from scratch, and we're gonna cover important aspects of the website, and we're gonna build it using components. So a component is basically a reusable element you create for your design. So what you see here, like this button and this button is similar. What we see here, these are similar buttons. So we can just design one button and just reuse it everywhere else. So the good thing about the Tesla website is that much of everything is very similar. If you see a website that has a lot of similarities, then it's much easier for you to create elements as a single and then convert those elements, like a button, into a component. And once it's a component, we can easily reuse it in different parts of the website. So another thing I want to show you here is I will show you how to build this amazing menu navigation section. And notice when I hover here, we have this nice drawer that comes in, and then we can see a bunch of Model S, Model 3 here. This is very similar to the Tesla.com website. And so also notice when I hover here, we have a blurry effect at the bottom here. So we're gonna build that together. So when I click here, or when I hover, you can see that we have a change from a non-hover state to a hover state. So when I click this learn, I come to a different page where I can learn more about the Model 3. So what we have here is we have a nice buttons here, and then we also have this glowing, kind of a glowing text just below the button. So what this is telling us, it is telling us to perhaps scroll down. So see what happens when I start scrolling. So now I'm scrolling, voila, we can see it changes from a different model to from a white to a red. So we can also build this in Framer, but this I'm gonna cover it in the next video, which is a part 2 of this video. Okay, so without further ado, let's get this party started. My name is Joe and this is Framer Dive. Let's get started. So when you sign up into Framer, you're gonna see your Framer workspace. So this is my workspace, which you see on your screen. And this is where we're gonna design everything. We're gonna start with a blank workspace. Although I have a couple of text and images around here, which are just gonna help me guide me through as we build this website. But don't you worry, I'm gonna take you through every step of the way. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start by building this hero section. So inside this desktop, so desktop is the one which runs from all the way down here. So I'm just gonna hold F on my keyboard and draw a frame inside it. And as you can see, we have a kind of a blue frame. So this is what we're gonna call our hero. Okay. So inside here is where we're gonna place our text and the image that we need to build. So I'm gonna set this to fill, which is going to fill the available space, and I'm gonna set the height to viewport so that when we open the website, we can see that the image covers the whole part of the viewport. So let's go to the right side here. Under styles, you're gonna see fill. You're gonna click this fill and you're gonna go here to the image. So we have color here, solid. We're gonna go all the way to image and we're gonna choose an image and we're gonna put it inside. So the image I'm going to use is I'm going to use the image that resembles my hero section, so which is technically this one. Okay, so then I'm going to just put it inside. So we have the image. So the next thing we're going to do is just simply add in the bunch of text inside this hero section. So we have the hero, which is a frame, as you can see, and the frame has no layout yet. So we need to come here to click this plus icon, and then now we've set it to a layout. So anything that we add inside is going to be as a layout to it. Okay, so now we're gonna put in our text inside. So I had already created the text, which is this here. So my text is here. I had already created it. So we have a stack. So we have a stack, which is the stack that has my text container, and it has the dots, which is these two dots here. And then we also have the text here. We can see we robot. So I'm just gonna take this stack and I'm gonna hold Control X, and I'm just gonna go and paste it inside my hero section, Control V. So now that we have our text inside here, we are gonna go and change the distribution of our hero to appear, for it to appear on the left bottom part. So click your hero and go to distribute it at the end. And then, sorry, we're gonna distribute it from the start so that it starts on these spots. And then we're gonna put it at the bottom like that. Okay, and then we're gonna add a padding of around 100 here and a padding of around 150 on the bottom. So come here to padding and come to your left padding part, and you can put 100, and then we can put on the bottom we can put 150 padding. See how it is, 150. Nice. So now that we have our text, which is well aligned in the position that we want it to be, we're gonna now come and add a different stack. We're gonna, inside the hero section, we're gonna add a different text. So let's name this the info 1. So this is the information 1, and we need to add another information inside it. As you can see on this website, we have it changing from one state to the other. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just take this text or this stack that has a bunch of text inside and a button. I'm gonna hit Control C on my keyboard, or I can take Control X and just paste it inside this hero section. So Control V. But now, as you can see, we have a different. So, but now we also need to change this APR. Let's call this info 2. We need to change now this into a different positioning type, which we're gonna put it to absolute. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want it to overlap. We want it to go above the other one. So I'm just gonna pin this to the left and the bottom. I'm gonna drag it inside like that, kind of like that, until it sort of aligns with the text. So you can see that this info 2 is below info 1, and that is what we want. And then but we don't want to see it. We want it to minimize its opacity, so we cannot see it at all. Okay, and then remember, we also want it to be pinned to the bottom and the left part of our screen. So once we have that, we now need to create a component from this hero section that we can change it from one state to the other. I'm gonna hold Control Alt K on my keyboard to create a component, and I'm gonna call it the hero component. So this is now my hero component, and inside it we have info 1 and info 2. Info 2 we cannot see it because we set the opacity to 0. Again, we return it to 0. So then we're gonna now create a different variant, and then now in this second variant we're gonna place a different image inside it, and this is the image that we want to see as we move from, you know, one state to another. So this is the image we want to put. So I'm gonna click here, image, variant 2. So remember, we had our fill as an image. So I'm gonna choose an image, and I'm gonna pick the image that I want to have on my website. Now we have this nice image, and then we just need to now change the text here. So go to info 1, make sure that we don't see it, so minimize the opacity, and just come to info 2 and up the opacity from 0 to like 1. So now we have two variants, and now what we just need to do is connect them to change from one state to the other. So how do we do that? So I'm gonna click this primary variant, I'm gonna add an interaction, and I'm gonna add a new transition, and then I'm gonna set it on appear. We're gonna have a delay of like 2 seconds, and then we're gonna cycle from one variant to the other. So cycle means that we're just gonna move from variant 1 to variant 2 on a cycle with a delay of 2 seconds. So now when we go and view our web page, you can see that after 2 seconds we change from basically one state to another. So this kind of looks like a carousel, but it's just a bunch of variants which we have created. Also notice that we've created also these 2 dots. So what is just like this second text has a white dot on the left, and this has a white dot on the other left. So congratulations on building the hero section. Now we're gonna go ahead and build the other sections of the website, which is this part. This is the area, and then we're gonna build this together. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to the desktop, and I'm gonna hold F on my keyboard. I'm just gonna hold a frame. Since we've created this frame and it looks like it's outside the desktop, we're gonna hold this Control X, cut it, and then we're gonna paste it inside this desktop. Now we have the frame here, which we can adjust the height. So we want this height to set to viewport, and then we want it to fill the available space. So what we want is we want to create this part here where we can see a model Y, a bunch of text, images, and buttons. Okay, so we're gonna come and hold F on our keyboard, and this is the frame that is going to have the images. This is the frame where we're gonna have the image and the text of model Y. So what we do, we're gonna set this to viewport height, and then we're gonna make sure that it has a width of fill. Sorry, we can't set fill because the parent layer need to have a layout to it. So we click here plus button layouts, and then we come back to our frame, and now we can put it to fill the available space. And then what we now have is we go back to our stack. Remember, we had put our stack to have a viewport of 100 VH, but we're gonna change this to fit the content. So now this frame here is the one which we're gonna call this the model Y container. Okay, and then we are just gonna duplicate this, and then as you can see, when you duplicate it, it changes from left to right. But we're gonna go to the parent again, and we're gonna change the distribution direction from top to bottom like this. So we want it to be like this, so that we can add a bunch of other cars here and information on the website. So let's go to model Y. This is the first model Y. Let's call this model X container, and then let's call this model 3. Okay, so let's call this model 3 container. So now what we want to do is we want to add, notice we have a padding all around here. We have spaces on the top left, on the left edges, and on the right, and we also have spaces between these these elements. So I'm just gonna come to the stack, which is our parent, which we're gonna call this our section 2. Okay, so the section 2 has the cars inside, and so we're gonna add a padding all around. So we can put in a padding of like 50, and as you can see now it's coming up really well. And then also we can put a gap of like 25. So now as you can see, we have something coming up. All we just need to do is add our images inside. So let's go to model Y, and we're gonna again change it into a layout, because this is where we're gonna insert our image in our text. Come here to image to fill, and I'm gonna add an image here. I'm gonna choose an image, which this is a model Y. I think it's this one, and then we're gonna paste it inside. And then now what we just need to do is we need to add a bunch of text inside it. What we can do, we can distribute it between, that we have space between, and then we can just add a padding on the top and the bottom just to push the text up and this text down. So this is pretty much it. But also notice that as we see our website, we have this corner radius, so we can just go to our model Y container and put the radius to like 12. I think 12 is pretty good, or actually 10. So as you can see, we have a nice model Y, which when we view our website here, we can see what we have. So we have the model Y here, and then we have the text. Yeah, pretty much it. So now let's know that, as you can see on the main website, this part, this model Y part, is very similar to model 3 part, or the model 3 section. So remember what I told you about sections is that for us to use to make it easier, and for us to make our design process faster, we can use something called components. So a component is basically a reusable element that we can just reuse it. So let's come here to this model Y container and let's create a component out of it. So I'm going to hold Control Alt K. I'm going to create model Y container as a component, meaning now we can reuse it across the entire board. So now we have the model Y component here. Create variants. We can create a variable where we don't have to, we just need to change the text and the images, and we can just duplicate it. Let me show you what I mean. So what I mean, I come to my text here, and I'm gonna click here content, which I'm gonna see a plus icon here. I'm gonna click this and I'm gonna create a variable. So a variable is something that we can reuse, or we can use to change the contents inside it on our homepage. So let's just create a variable. This has, as you can see, this highlight in green. So we're gonna create a variable like this one, and then we're gonna do the same for the text. We're gonna come here again, and we're gonna create a variable, plain text, and then we're gonna call this text, and then we're gonna call another variable here. Then we're gonna plain text, and we're gonna call it the subtext. Okay. So now if we wish to change anything, we can just change it on the homepage. So again, we're also gonna create a variable for our image. So when I click the variant 1 and I come here to the image, I can click here fill, and I can create a variable like the image here. And now we can also change the image. And then we have also our buttons here. So we have the button container. So we can also change this. I can make this to, if I go to the button, remember this button is a component, by the way, similar to this model Y component. So if I double click it, we go directly to the button component, and then basically I can adjust it here, and it can change in this part. But what I want to show you is we can also make this other button into a similar component, which we're gonna do. So I'm gonna delete this, and I'm gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna go back to this button component. I'm gonna change this component, I'm gonna add a variant, and I'm gonna add a different color to it. So this is going to be our white, this is going to be the white button. So basically now we can also change the, as you can see now, the content here has also a variable. Okay, so now we can go back to the main, and we can click here, and we can change this to variant 2, and we can also adjust the button text here. We can click here, we're done now. Okay, so now we have a beautiful component. So what we just need to do now, notice what happens here. So under the model Y container, we can easily change the title from here. Perhaps this is called model S, as you can see. Perhaps we need to change the image to a different image here, So I'm just gonna pick a random car, like a Model X here, and then 1, 2, 3. Voila, we have a different image. So this is the beauty of components. Once we build it, we just need to change it on this right side. We can just change the text and we can change the image. Pretty much it. So now, as you know, we don't need to come again here to Model X and build it again like from scratch, put in the images. That's a lot of work. What we just need to do is just duplicate this and we are off to the races. So I'm just gonna duplicate it. Okay, so now we have 2 components, which makes our work pretty much easy. And then now we're gonna build now. So for you to build this part, you just duplicate it, change the image using the components, which is pretty good. We can also do the same for this Cybertruck and all. Then I'm also going to show you the last part I want to show you is this part here. So what happens if we have two sections arranged like this from, you know, let me show you how to build that. So I'm just gonna come here to I'd already built it here. So I have this section here. So this is a card, and the card inside has the stack and it has the stack button. So this is just, I just need to Control X on my keyboard and I can just drag it inside one of these containers. I'm gonna hold Control V. I'm gonna go to my Model X container, which actually is not a Model X container, but this is a solar panel container. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change it into a layout like this. I'm gonna get rid of the fill color, and then I'm just gonna duplicate this card. So now we have 2 cards, as you can see, but you can see the card is not fitting inside. Why is that? Perhaps it's because it's quite big. So let's go to the card and let's make sure that the width is set to fill. And also let's go to the other card. Let's set the width to fill the space. Now pretty much it, we have what we want to build. So now we can change the images. Pretty much it. Now when we view our website, we have a nice section here which switches from one image to another beautifully, and then we have this section which covers the whole point of our viewport, and then we have the Model X here, and then we have this part here which takes much of this space. Although we have a slight problem here, is because we need to render this image again. So I'm just gonna click here, section 2. When we view our website, it's quite clean and quite nice. Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah, so thank you for watching till this part. In the next section, I'm gonna show you how to build this nice navigation section where we can hover on the vehicles and we can see the drawer is coming up really well, and we have this blurry effect on the background, and then we also have these nice buttons, and also, yeah, pretty much it. When I hover on any of the buttons, we can see there's an underline beneath the text. Yeah, pretty much it. This is what I'm going to show you in the next video. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.